We are recording.
Howdy.
All right. So we're gonna do a bit of a deca breakdown today. How Luke breaks down his deca. Because if you don't, and you just have a total time to work with, it's really hard to know what you need to specifically improve on. Because you might be great at like the ram reverse lunges or the box laterals or whatever, and train those a bunch more. What?
Just box overs.
Yeah, whatever.
What they are.
You go over laterally, it's cool. But you might train those when you're already really good at them, but your weakness is like the air bike or the sled or something like that, and you're not improving on those specifically. So, you want to pull up your numbers?
Yep. Let me share my screen.
I also track these, but it matters less for me because I don't score as well, obviously. And Deca, while I enjoy doing it, is not my main goal.
So I have tracked. I'll show this first. Can you see that?
Mm-hmm.
So this is all the Deka events that I've done. Up here, you can see my mouse.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, it shows everything.
So Deka Strong, the 11:49 is the world record time, which was done by Ryan Corning. And then that's my fastest time next to it. See, I'm just very number goal oriented. So I have to see these things, and that lets me know exactly. So I have 1 minute and 9 seconds to cut off if I want to tie. 1 minute and 10 seconds. Wait, did I say that right? Yeah, 1 minute and 10 seconds to be the world record. And then here's the Deca mile. So this was set by Ryan Kent. And then that's my fastest Deca mile. Yeah, Ryan Kent, he has this number, also the Deca Fit world record. I'm frustrated about this Deca Fit time because, like, if I were to do it right now, my running has drastically improved since I was able to do these events, but they just haven't had any, like, near me.
They don't host many events in a year.
No.
They're all in the big cities and on
the
West Coast and in the Midwest, right?
California, Colorado, Texas, Chicago, somewhere else, and then really far south in Florida. So before COVID, they were going to have like 1 million of them, and a couple of them like DC, Raleigh, I think Atlanta. So ones I could drive to, but then COVID happened. So here we are.
Yeah.
Either way, I definitely want to get to do a fit again because I think I could probably get like 34, but here we are. So yeah, my first time ever was March 28th, and that was 2021. And so I made it in 14:56, and that was without I didn't really know much about it. So at that time, that was like right as COVID was kind of ending, and I was training basically
Bring it back up.
Oh, I was training basically for high rocks, and yeah, not as much like specifically for OCR. So fortunately, I was already getting familiar with the rower and the sled and the ski erg and farmer's carry and all those things. So it was good to it actually worked out perfectly to then do Deca.
Mm-hmm.
So yeah, that's my first time. Pretty drastic cutting down on the second time. And then just for a little while, I just kind of, was around the same time, and then pretty drastic cuts again. And that's kind of seems what it is like. You cut off a big chunk, and then you're going to hover a little bit, kind of within like a little bit of a range, and then another big chunk. And then that's just how it is. Progress is never like a straight line up. So, but yes, let me show you a different thing here. So this is, let me see. Yeah, on the left are my fastest times from my events. So, and that is just for the station, not counting any transition time. So that's why I always like to have a video. We do a live video or just a regular cell phone video. And so I'll just, as soon as I touch the ram for the lunges, I start the timer. As soon as I drop it, I stop the timer. So it is just the work on the stations.
Yeah, I don't count the transitions either, mostly because they're so negligible. It's like
not really.
You're there.
No, it's actually, I used to, it's actually a lot. if you think about it, like it's like 3 seconds to get from the lunges. I don't start the rower time until I touch the handle. So that's setting down the ram, sitting down, tightening your feet, and then reaching. That's like 3 or 4 seconds. Going from the rower, that's nothing, to the box, row to the box, that's nothing. Box to sit-ups, that's really nothing. But there are a couple of them where like 2 to 3 seconds, or maybe even 4 seconds, you multiply that times 10, you're up at like 30 or 40 seconds. And it kind of depends on the event. Like some of them are set up in a nice straight line where you can just go from one thing to the other. Others are kind of set up a little bit just like not ideal. So you kind of have to move around it. Just make it, again, if it was 1 second extra per station, that's 10 seconds. That's kind of a lot. So,
well, that's true. Can't really cut down slower than a second, though.
Yeah. But
I
yeah,
always start the timer, like with the rower, I start it when I like physically touch it, when I sit on the thing, because that's the first thing I do.
yeah. I mean, yeah, there are different. I'm just counting the work. Like that's just how I'm doing it.
Yeah.
And
Video I
yes,
broke down for this last event, I didn't have any transition times more than like 2 seconds.
okay. I mean,
From the bike to the ball was 1 second. From the ram to the row was 1 second. I think the longest one was to the sled and or the tank, just because it takes a second to get the handles on the tank.
yeah. Yeah. So yeah, we're counting a little bit differently, which is gonna add it would add more seconds to the transition time for me, and it will take away some time for you. But I mean, that's just a different way to do it. But yeah, so on the right, the numbers are from Ryan Kent's Deca strong record that he set, which I want to say was like 11:54, something like that. So 5 seconds off the world record. I would have used Ryan Corning's, but I just don't have a video of his, so I used Ryan Kent's. And I did it the same way I do mine. So yeah, like you can see the differences: 1 second on the lunge, 5 seconds on the rower, 5 seconds on the box, which my good, like I do a lot of these stations in isolation as well. And like the fastest I could possibly go so far, I'm still working on it, but the fastest I've gone in isolation on the box is 31 seconds. And this dude's doing 32 in competition. Sit-ups, and again, these are all my best times versus his best time. Yeah, so 5 seconds on the sit-ups. I thought I did much better on my sit-ups on the last one. Felt like I was going much faster. I was actually like 5 seconds slower, so I'm gonna have to work on that. Ski erg, he's got 5 seconds on me. Farmer's carry, like that's a huge opportunity for me. 12 seconds. I know that for sure. And like I remember one of the events I did, I was like, what's that?
48 seconds. Hold on, I'm pulling up mine to see.
Yeah, and one of the events, I was like, I know I'm not as fast as I should be on the farmers, so I'm gonna go fast. And I did it in like 45 seconds. And then I got to the air bike and I was just toast. So, air bike, obviously the biggest opportunity I can make up time. Usually I'm at this one was actually pretty slow for me. Usually I'm at like 125, or I mean, that's not that big of a difference, but I mean, he's 34 seconds faster. That's a lot. That is a lot. The ball, 2 seconds. I got him on that. Sled, what is that? 7 seconds. So pretty close there. There was one time that I beat him on the sled. Burpees, my fastest time. I just knocked that out. Almost died at the end, but 4 seconds there. So,
You were 4 seconds faster on that, weren't you?
What's that?
You were 4 seconds faster on the burpee.
On the burpee, yeah. So that was, but again, like if you take the air bike and the farmer's carry, that's like 45 seconds right there.
Yeah.
So those are the things I'm working on the most, but that's why it is so important to break this stuff down. Otherwise, you're just kind of like, training without like a specific purpose. Obviously, yes, deca is a cardio thing. If your cardio's not there, your strength's not going to do anything for you. You're just going to get toasted in the first couple minutes. So you have to have a really good cardiovascular engine. You have to be able to keep your heart rate sky high for me, I'm trying to get like under 13 minutes consistently. So, I mean, that's just a lot of cardio. But again, you have to also train specifically because with an event that short, every second does count. And if you can cut off, and that's what I'm working on with our clients, like if you can cut off a couple seconds here or there, 2 seconds per station is 20 seconds.
Yep.
That's a lot. That's a lot. And now that they have the World Championship in November in Atlantic City, the leaderboard is changing literally every single weekend. A lot, because deca events are popping up all over the place. So more and more deca strong and deca mile events. So more and more people are doing them. And so the competition's heating up, and it's actually heating up a lot faster than I thought. I thought it was just kind of like, I didn't think there'd be too much change until probably like June or July. And then, Yancey would be trying to get a lot of the top OCR dudes to put up some times or whatever, but it's heating up now. So for people trying to qualify for world championships, either like pro or in your age group, like you gotta be grinding now, because it's not going to cut it to do it last minute unless you're just already in incredible shape. I don't know.
Yeah. Right now, Ryan Kent has the top with 12:05. You are 8th with your 12:58.
And I've held that since like the end of February.
53 seconds.
Yeah.
Between 1 and 8.
Are you saying that's a lot or no?
That's a lot.
Yeah, for sure.
For something this short, that's a lot of time.
But what that shows you is that there aren't the top. There's a lot more opportunity for people to step in and put down some really good times.
Yeah.
Because there are a lot of people who can do pretty. I mean, we could look at the 2021 leaderboard, and there are a lot of times. Like, well, let's look at that. Let me bring it up. Do you have it?
Not the
So
moment.
see where 1258 would put me on the 2021 leaderboard. Probably, hopefully still in the top 20, but that's when a lot of the top OCR and functional fitness dudes did it, and they were putting up, some pretty good times. Are you bringing it up?
Hold on.
I'll bring it up.
I'm on 22, and I'd have to back out of it. Deca mile right now, Ryan Corning holds the top, and he also is 9th, I believe, on the strong right now. So
in 2021, 1258 would have put me in 17th, which I would then not have qualified for the World Championship. But yeah, you had like Hunter, you had Isaiah Vidal, you had Ryan Atkins, a bunch of other people, Forrest Bouge, I don't know how to say his last name, but a lot of other people who do really well, and I just don't think they've done it yet this year. So
I don't see him on the lists right now. I'm looking at the mile right now, and you're at 18th.
Oh, are you serious?
Yeah.
Oh.
There's the top 10 are under 20 minutes right now. But didn't Carl beat us on the mile?
Yeah, but then the next weekend I cut off over a minute. So
on your mile?
Yeah. So the weekend you're talking about, I did it in 21:42, and you were somewhere near there. And then like 3 weeks later, I cut off a minute and 8 seconds.
Oh my word! I'm 58 on the mile right now.
Wow.
There's so many people in the 20 to 22 range. That's crazy. Wow. Can't wait to do the next mile.
So the mile's getting a lot more competition in there, because when I did that time on March 26th, it put me at 8th. And now what did we say? I'm already at 18th.
Yeah.
And that's only like a month and a half. So the mile is definitely heating up a lot. there's just not as many of those. There's one coming up here in like, I don't know, early June, like June 5th or something. So I'll definitely be doing that.
Yeah, that's the one. Yeah, I'm doing that one as well.
Somebody else the place that I just set my PR at, they said they're doing another one in like September or something. I don't know if I'll do that one. We'll see.
The one near you?
No, it is not near me. It was a 3-hour drive.
Oh, Virginia.
Yeah, I think so.
Yeah. All right, so I'm looking at these things. So you showed Ryan Kent's air bike time. It was
Yeah.
a minute faster than mine. Now, granted, my air bike, then my most recent one, my best one was 143. I never train it, and I'm just bad at it in general. So if someone has a bad air bike time, like one of our Deka clients or whatever, or they're trying to improve their air bike time, let's put it that way. What are you gonna do? Like, what would you
work on like explosive power, strength, not just endurance? Because like, so I don't have access to a air bike right now, just because I just don't anymore. So what I've been using is a Peloton, and I've been cranking up the resistance, and then pairing it with something that's like more like calisthenics, higher reps, higher intensity, because it's kind of hard to get your heart rate up, when the resistance is that high. So I'm trying to kind of mimic the power that it takes on an air bike, because you do need a good amount of power to like make it move and get the watts up there. Mm-hmm. But then I'll add in like burpees or squat jumps, something that's going to build the lactic acid up even more, but then also get my heart rate up. So I'm trying to train myself to be able to put out the power to get the watts up with my heart rate up a lot. So that type of thing. And that follows through with the ski erg and the rower as well. Same concept on those. Like, you'll see some people who they're just going ham on that thing, like pulling as many reps as they can. And that is not efficient. And you're going to spike your heart rate too much. You're going to build up too much lactic acid, and you're just going to get tired overall. So like, that's something I really focus on, is training for efficiency and looking at the strokes per minute when you're on the ski erg and the rower. And that's kind of different for everybody though. Somebody who's stronger, who was I listening to? Bubbles the Clown, Kevin Gregory. He did a podcast. He was on the Rich Ryan's podcast. He was talking about it because he does a lot of Deka stuff, and he just made a bunch of videos about it. And he was saying how like his strokes per minute are low, and I mean like low 20s, 22 or something like that. Maybe
I've never looked at that data. I count while I'm doing it, but I don't actually look at the data on the skier, or excuse me, on the rower.
It makes a big difference to know actually where you are, because again, like, it's a power motion. When you see somebody rowing in a boat, they're not like going back and forth as fast as they can chaotically. They're making a powerful move back and then slowly coming forward.
Yeah.
It's different when you're on a concept too, because you're not in the water and it's a lot less resistance, but still, like, so Kevin Gregory, he's a big dude. He's strong. He has a lot more power. So he's using that, and it's helping him to work efficiently. You have somebody else, like, I think Robert Killian, he's got it a lot higher. He's not as powerful of a dude. And I'm somewhere in between there. So my strokes per minute are like 28.
And that on the next time I do it.
Yeah. On the rower, it's a little bit lower, maybe like 26, something like that, because the power is more coming from your legs. On the ski erg, I try to stay like 30, maybe 32. I'm trying to get that a little bit lower.
What was your ski erg time?
151.
Okay. This past one was my best, and it was 159. And my rower, I feel like I haven't time. Oh, we didn't have film from one or two of these events. That's why I don't have breakdowns. My rower was 151.
Okay.
Which is only like 6 or 7 seconds off, right? From where you were?
Your rower was 151. Mine's like 141 or 142.
10 seconds then.
142, yeah.
Yeah, I never practiced the skier, so I was surprised because I dropped my time on that by like 10 to 11 seconds. But I guess I paid for it on the air bike.
Yeah. So I mean,
Okay, so those air bikes, I'd never used that type before. What kind was it at iFit?
it was Rogue, the Echo bike.
Okay. It felt like it felt like the resistance was not the same. Like it
Yeah.
was lower. And even if I push harder, like if you are on a low gear, like gear one on a bike, you can pedal as much as you want, but you don't go fast because there's no, like, it's not the same resistance. Or like on damper one on the rower, not the same thing. The same poles won't get you the same distance as if you're at 10. So that one seemed like it was harder to get the distance in. So I'm curious to see if that was actually part of it or if I was just completely destroyed because I did almost all my times on the stations before that faster than any other one. Everything actually.
I think
The roller was like a second or two slower, but
I've heard people say different things. Just they are different because they're different brands. Like if you use two different rower brands, it's going to feel different. Same with the ski and stuff. But I know Assault is who sponsors Deka. So at the actual World Championships, it's going to be an Assault bike. So
yeah. And the roadshow events
yeah,
have it.
yeah. So they're not like my times on them are pretty similar. I get what you're saying, but like it's still
Yeah, I don't know. I've never used that one before. It just felt like I was not getting as far as fast because it was. Why can't I see? It was like almost 15 seconds slower, but that could have been because everything before it was faster for me, except for the farmer's carry was my fastest ever, but it was close.
that's usually how it works, you know. Once you get to the air bike, that's when you find out how you're doing.
Really was. It was such a shame too because I thought I did well in the tank, and it turns out my tank time was 26 seconds slower than at the previous event with my tank time, but uh, I was only 6 seconds off of my best time ever. So if I had matched those times, it would have been like a 20-second
Right.
improvement overall.
Yeah.
But
Yeah.
not what.
Yeah. I mean, that's the hard part. So that's also why like I have these numbers written down so I can focus on pacing so much. Because if I'm on the rower and I usually row like a 142 and I row like a 132, then I know I'm screwed.
Yeah, you're gonna kill yourself.
I'm not going to be like, oh, wow, I'm doing so great. No, I know that I went a little too fast and maybe I need to ease back a little bit or whatever. But that's why it's so important. Like, I know some people will have it to where, you know, and I've done this a little bit. I have the first three stations down to where I know the lunges, the rower, the box take like, I think like 315, 320. So if I were to look at my watch, then I'd be like, okay, I'm on pace. And then, you know, I haven't gone that in depth to where if I look at the sled, I'm like, oh, I'm 20 seconds behind. Like, to me, it's not going to make a difference. If I'm 20 seconds behind at the sled or whatever, I'm not going to be able to make that up because either way, I'm doing the best I can. And if I look at that and I see I'm behind that far, I'm just going to feel discouraged. I'm going to be like, wow, okay. But I do look after the sled just because I know the burpees take, you know, a minute or a minute 5 or a minute 10, whatever. And so if I look and it's like, okay, you know, I'm at 12, then maybe I could set a new PR or something like that. So that's really the only time I look at my watch during. But throughout, you know, the rower, the ski, the bike, I'm obviously looking at the pacing for that.
Yeah, that makes sense. I knew at this last event that I was going faster because I was feeling it a lot, but I wanted to see how far I could push. And really the tank was the only thing that suffered majorly. There were like the med ball was a little slower, but only a little bit compared to the last one. My burpees were the fastest I've ever done as far as I recorded. Yeah. It's interesting. Point here being, you should, if you're doing one of these events, especially like a Deca Strong, it's super easy to get footage of the entire event all the way through. Even Deca Mile's pretty easy, but Deca Strong, you can get footage all the way through. And afterwards, you can break down the film like this and see what areas are your opportunity areas, your big places to cut off time. Mine is very obviously the air bike and the tank. I can absolutely cut a bunch of time off those, and then after that, it's probably the ski erg. Or you could just say those three, I guess. If I just started working on those regularly, which I won't because this isn't my goal, I'll do them as a part of some of my training for some of the higher intensity stuff, but I'm not going to focus any real time on it because it takes away from the running that I'm building up. So
if you don't have access to those things, like a good thing to do would be, and I've been doing this a lot, is walking lunges with like a weight vest, because that's using the same muscles you use when you do the sled push. And on the air bike, if your legs are strong and powerful and they have a good amount of endurance doing strength and power, you know, then you'll be able to pick up the pace a bit. So I've been doing like high volume walking lunges just so that my quads can get used to like really taking a beating like that.
It's a good idea.
But it's interesting to see how like several of the stations are really, they do take a lot of power too if you want to do them efficiently and then also improve your time. Like the rower takes power, the skier takes power, even the sit-ups. Like if you have a little bit of power in your abs, you're going to be able to do that faster rather than doing like a strict sit-up where you just come up only using your abs. You can use your arms a little bit, get some momentum. That will cut off some time. Power, obviously, on the air bike, power with the ball. A lot of people just like pick it up using their legs and not getting like that little pop to help get it to your shoulder. If you do that, that's going to cut off time and then you're working more efficiently. And that's the exact same thing as the burpees, like getting that pop from your hips using your glutes and hamstrings.
It's always so rough at the end.
Yeah, but I mean, if you're picking that thing up just using strict strength, like you're gonna, one, go slower, and two, die. So
yeah,
so if you can get that pop from the ground using your hips, your core, and everything, it's gonna be a lot faster.
Okay. Anything else?
I mean, nothing too specific. It's gonna be cool to see how this year turns out. Like, I mean, the Deka type of event just kind of fits with like how my mind works. If you remember, we had a Game Boy Advance growing up, and there was the Mario Kart game, and I forget what the map's name was, but it was like the shortest map, and you do 3 laps, and you can do a time trial. So I did that, and then when you go again as a time trial, it shows like a ghost version that drives next to you to show your best time. And so I did that hundreds of times, getting every turn, every slide, every bump, every single thing down to the very fastest second I possibly could. And so when Deka came out, I was like, there we go. That's just how my mind works.
I've been training for this my whole life.
Right.
Mario Kart.
That's right. Yeah, so it's just how my mind works. Like I like to break things down, look at the ways to cut off different seconds, and I just enjoy doing this type of training anyway. So
it's good. Yeah, it'll be interesting to see how it all plays out the rest of the year. Get better times, go to the championships. That'd be awesome.
Yeah, for sure. That's the goal. And it's been fun training people for Deka as well. Like we do a video breakdown just like I did for myself. That's not, I mean, it depends on your goal. If you have somebody you're trying to beat and you have their times, yeah, we can compare that. But usually it's just comparing one of your times to your next best time and seeing how you improve and kind of breaking it down like, okay, so you've improved here, here, and here, but not so much here. We need to focus a little bit more on that. Was it a pacing thing, or are you just not getting stronger? That type of thing. So that's the same thing we do with our clients, the video breakdown, and just working through that station by station.
Mm-hmm. Kara's grinning at me. I don't know why. I heard everything you said, though. Yeah, so for those who don't know, when was it? In January? Yeah, January we launched the hybrid training programs that we have on there. And so people have been signing up for those and making progress, which is awesome. So
Yep.
if this is something that you're interested in and you want to focus specifically on improving your time there and just getting overall more fit, go check those out. So triofitnesstraining.com. It's under the hybrid tab up top.
And we have two different options you can do for that. So you can either do a custom program, which means like it's customized for you, like where you are with your current fitness level, any injuries you have, what your specific goals are, and then the workouts are based specifically around that. And the program is for hybrid, so yes, Deca, but also like High Rocks, Camp Glad, any of those hybrid type of competitions. That's what we're training for. And of course, we talk about that. If you have something specific you want to train for, then we build that program around that. And then we also have more of like a follow the workout type program where you get 3 workouts per week, and they're all based mostly on Deca again, but still, it's all kind of intertwined with like High Rocks, Camp Gladiator, the same type of functional fitness overall. So
go sign up.
There we go.
All right, good stuff. Good stuff. Well, now you know all the tricks to the trade, so you can beat Luke's time. And
I hope so, man. I'd love to see more competition.
Yeah, more is always better.
Heck yeah.
Makes the sport more popular, and then makes all the events more exciting when there's competition.
Yeah,
lots of it.
For sure.
All right, cool. That's it for today. We're done now. This
all right.
pretty long, but that's all right.
See you guys later.
I gotta figure out. There it is. All right. Bye, everyone.
Bye.